Hey guys, so apparently, from what everyone is talking about online right now after a big revelation was made yesterday, Sega may be getting back into the digital distribution business with their games. Now let me explain to you what I mean about getting back into it. First though, if you want to check out this revelation that took place yesterday, check out Sean's video. I'll put it down in the description for you guys over at RGT85, where with the help of a viewer sending in some screenshots on Twitter, Sean was able to piece together with this viewer that Sega Forever, which is this new trademark that they have in this new title change, may be a new age form of the Sega channel. So real quick, what happened was a viewer bought Comic Zone or got Comic Zone on their phone, went through it. He said it was like in the Philippines, went through it and found out there was terms of service for Sega Forever, which was still upcoming, but seemed to mention things like cloud saves and being almost like a cloud service type of setup. So what would happen is, as you go along, you would be able to pay a monthly fee and get games monthly. This is what everyone believes is happening right now, and we've been leading up to this for a while because Sega registered things like Sega Forever on Twitter last year, back in November of last year, and they also have things like a Facebook and a Reddit that is private currently. Now, if you don't know what the Sega channel is, that's not a real big deal because it was back in 1995 when it came out, so if you're maybe a little younger, you don't follow a lot of the retro stuff, this has happened before. Sega was like way ahead of everyone when it came to everything pretty much. They really tried to innovate as much as they could. The Dreamcast is pretty much living proof of them attempting to innovate and maybe innovate a little too much for their own good. But back in 1995, Sega and Nintendo were head to head here, and then here comes Sony. But for the longest time, it was Sega versus Nintendo. And apparently they had a great idea, which was a really good idea. I loved my Sega channel when I was younger. What you would do is you would get your Sega channel through like the cable providers, and they would basically loan you this device that you would plug into your Genesis. You would pay a monthly fee, and then you'd have access like Netflix style to games. And keep in mind, guys, this was when like 28K modems were still around. Like, I remember when the Sega channel came out, we were upgrading to the 56K modems, which were a big deal. And at that point, the Sega channel was amazing because it went through your cable jack. And what would happen is you'd start it up 30 seconds later or so, it would load into the menu, and you go through and pick whatever games you wanted to play that day. And like, they would upload games like weekly sometimes, and you would even get demos and like different like stills and stuff for games coming up, hints and tricks and tips and stuff. It was really, really revolutionary, really ahead of its time for a game console, when at the time we were buying and renting cartridges from the store. It was so easy for your parents to get this service for $15 a month and just let you go. 50 games or so would usually be up there every month. And things like Mortal Kombat were interesting because I'm not sure why, but apparently there wasn't enough storage on the cartridge they gave you. Like I said, it was like this weird base setup where it would screw into your cable jack. There wasn't enough room on there, so like you would have Mortal Kombat 1 and Mortal Kombat 2, like, or Mortal Kombat 3-1, Mortal Kombat 3-2. You would download half the characters, so each game was like half the characters in each one. For some reason, they couldn't fit it on what was supposedly a 4 megabyte chip that was volatile RAM. It would actually erase itself when you turned the game off. And what was really funny is sometimes it just wouldn't work at all. Like, I mean at all. I would sit there, turn it off, turn it on several times, because apparently the lines that you would run, the coaxial, had to be extremely what they would call clean. So like the cable providers had to clean these channels constantly. And at the time, I think we had Time Warner is who did ours. See, I was a little younger, so I can't remember 100%, but I did have this Sega channel until it died. Like, I kept it as long as I could before we had to send it back. Otherwise, they charged you some crazy amount of money for the box. But in 1998, they gave up. It was there in 1995, went to 1998, had 3 good years under its belt. And it was awesome. And now it looks like they're bringing this service back in a way that will suit mobile users. Isn't this interesting? All these companies are starting to put stuff out for mobile. That's because that's where the money is right now. Now, I really hope this is true, and I really hope they look into consoles, because this could be really neat if it goes to consoles. Now, of course, we see that Microsoft Games Pass is coming up pretty soon, and that's going to be very similar to Netflix style as well. There's PlayStation Now, which is not as good as either of these two services that may be coming up, because that's all streaming. If we could download it and play it locally, that's what we want. You know, it's not a big deal for Netflix to stream because you're just watching something. It's a big deal if you have to stream your games because of the latency. The other thing I really want to see these companies do, going forward is maybe making unique games to their system. So they would take the money like how Netflix makes unique series for Netflix. Maybe they make games that are specific to things like Games Pass or Sega Forever, like how Pierre Solar came out. Maybe Sega go ahead, they license that, get that in-house, and then you could only get it on the Sega channel. Because at the time, back in the day, there were games you could only get on the Sega channel, for example. In this case, maybe they can get stuff on Sega Forever. But Sega Channel had like things like Wily Wars and Alien Soldier that were only available as like a downloadable game. But yeah, guys, I'm pretty excited for this Sega Forever. I assume there's going to be an announcement at E3. I'm very happy to see Sega try to make a push back here into maybe again, another profitable fiscal year coming up. And this would definitely help them, because if it's like a $10 a month service, a lot of people wouldn't even think about it. If there are like 30 good Sega games there that they can just go on there and get, and it's constantly updated, and like I said, maybe get unique games. This could be the way of the future, guys. You could see other companies show up and start doing this. Could you imagine if Square Enix started doing this, where all of a sudden they have different Final Fantasies, you have like Legend of Dragoon, you have all these random games start to show up that maybe you didn't get a chance to play, but these RPGs are there now. So now you can download them and play them. That would work perfectly on something like the PlayStation 4, because all those Final Fantasy games would show up that are already kind of there anyway, but now it's like a rental service. So I hope companies start taking cues from this and start giving us options. You don't have to sign up for every company. You can just sign up for the ones you want. But yeah, guys, that's it for now. Again, check the description down below for Sean's video where he came to this revelation with the help of a viewer. I think it was really neat to see. And I'm excited. I'm excited for E3 because this has to be an announcement at E3. That's like the best time to do this. So I am getting, the E3 hype is getting real here, guys. I am so excited. We're gonna have a lot of fun that week. It's gonna be a lot of streaming, a lot of news wave extras and long news waves probably. So that's it for now, guys. I will see you next time.